let's go over the instructions for Lab 11 in CSC 120. These are fairly straightforward. If you read carefully and follow the instructions, it should work well for you. But as always, if you have any questions, make sure you contact your instructor. What we're going to do is work with the split method of the string class, which allows the program to break a string into pieces that are separated by a special character called the separator character or the delimiter character. And this is helpful. It allows us to process strings in an efficient manner. So we give you a starter program here linked into the lab, and so if you right-click on this muframe.java and save it in the source folder of your project, okay, it's a starter program that has a user interface built in, and I've done that. And so let's run this file, and you'll see. Okay, so here is the interface, or the screen interface that you're set up with. There's an input area at the top in which you can enter multi-line text, and then two buttons: process the input and clear input area, and an output area in which the results will be displayed. So the starter program, it allows you to type in. This is a text area, so you can type in multiple line input. This is an example of line input in a Java program using a text area. Okay, and if I click process the input, that button, right now the given program simply gets the text from the input area and then just displays it in the output area, unchanged. Okay, so that's what would happen. And this clear input area button, if I click that, it clears the input and leaves the output unchanged. This output area has its editable property turned off, and so I cannot click in here. I can highlight things, but I can't make any changes. Okay, the only changes that can be made to this output area would be through programming, so either setting the text of the output area or appending to the output area. So now I can type in something else. This is a second example. If I click process the input, it erases what was in the output area and just dumps the input into the output area. All right, so that's the given program. And then you're going to be making changes to it as described in the lab directions. So basically just follow these instructions in part B. You're going to break the input into separate lines using the split method. So do the stuff here in instruction 1, and we are splitting the input string, and inside parentheses is the splitting character. So \n means the new line. So anytime that in the input that the user would hit the enter key, that corresponds to this special \n string. And so then line of input would be an array of strings, one string for each substring in the input that is separated by a new line. Okay? So follow these instructions, and then you're supposed to write a for loop that appends each element of the array to the output area on separate lines, preceded by. So notice that if you run the program and enter the first 5 letters of the alphabet on separate lines in the input area, you should obtain this output. Okay, the output that's shown here. So let's see, I have a version of my program that's after step B. Let's run that. So what did I say? Type in the first 5 letters of the alphabet on separate lines. C, D, and E. And then if I say process the input, notice there are 5 lines in the input. Here they are line by line, line 0, up through line 4. Remember that arrays start with position 0. So the first value is in position 0, not 1. The last one, if there's 5 of them, is in position 5 minus 1 or 4. Okay. We can go to... Now, in the instructions, there are several of these text areas on the web page that have more text then will appear on the screen. So you can have these scrolly bars you see here. So the reason we did that is to keep the instructions short, but then also allow us to have lots of input. Here, this one has lots of lines. Okay. So the way to work with this is if you click in the field, then if you right click and choose Select All, or another way to do Select All is Control A on the keyboard if you have a Windows machine. Then right click on what you just selected and choose Copy, or Control C. Then we can run the program and click here. Now, if you right click here, you can't get to the menu won't come up to allow you to paste it. But the Control V keystroke in a Windows machine pastes in what you just copied. So notice now there we have instead of you having to type A through Z on separate lines, okay, we gave it to you. You can copy and paste it and then process the input. And notice that there are 26 lines in the input, and here's the input. Line 0 is A, line 1 is B, all the way down to line 25 is the 26th character of the alphabet, which is Z. Okay, here this second, in step B3, if I right click and choose Select All, and then right click and copy, I can get all of that input. I don't have to scroll all the way through it. Select All gets everything. So then I can click here, paste, and process the input. And there are 98 lines in that input, and here they are line by line. Okay. All right. So that's how you can work with these text areas in the instructions. Part C, just follow the instructions. It sort of tell you what to do step by step here. And then here are here's data from the Cleveland Orchestra. Instrument, semicolon, space, and then the section, it's either percussion or strings or brass, and then the number of musicians who play that instrument in total. So if I right click and choose Select All, right click, copy. If I go back to this program, okay, this just prints out all the input, but you're supposed to then take each separate line and split on the semicolon character, and then that will allow you to build an instrument object which takes 3 values: the name of the instrument, the section it's in, and the number of musicians that play that instrument. So just follow the instructions and you should be all set. Okay? And then once you're done, oh, this should be Lab 11 there, sorry. Once you're done, you submit your Lab 11 project to the D2L Dropbox. All right, so good luck with Lab 11, and as I said, any questions, contact your instructor.